My name is Emily, I'm 37, and last month, during what was supposed to be a quiet family dinner, my mother leaned back in her chair, folded her arms, and said loud enough for the entire table to hear, "You're a failure, Emily. Look at your sisters. Look at you." The steak knife slipped from my hand and clattered on the plate. Everyone froze. My sisters smirked. My mother sipped her wine. My father looked down at his food, as usual, silent, spineless. My hands shook, but my voice didn't, not this time. I looked straight at her and asked, "Then who's been paying your bills for the last 8 years?" Her face drained of color. My sisters stopped smirking. And that night began the revenge that they never saw coming. Because for once in my life, I wasn't letting them talk over me. I wasn't swallowing my feelings. I wasn't going to be the quiet daughter anymore. This is the story of how being called a failure became the best thing my family ever did for me, and the worst thing they ever did for themselves. I grew up as the middle child, which in my family didn't mean being ignored, it meant being targeted. My older sister, Vanessa, was the golden child. Perfect grades, perfect hair, perfect life. At least that's what Mom said. My younger sister, Chloe, was the baby. Cute, spoiled, pampered. And me, I was the difficult one. The one who liked books more than parties. The one who wanted to paint instead of compete. The one who listened rather than bragged. Mom hated that. She said I was unambitious, slow, and not gifted. She'd joke at holidays, if my daughters were fruit, Vanessa would be a juicy mango, Chloe a sweet apple. And Emily? Maybe a banana that fell on the floor. Everyone laughed. Except me. Even as a child, I stored every word. At 21, I moved out. At 25, I started my own business, a small freelance design studio. At 30, I was making more money than I ever dreamed, but I kept it quiet. Years of being mocked taught me to stay small even when I wasn't. My sisters married rich husbands. I built myself. But at family gatherings, Mom continued her routine. "Vanessa, I'm so proud of you. Chloe, you've always been brilliant." Then she'd glance at me and say, "Oh, you're here too." That IT was exhausting. So, I limited visits. Except once a month, because I had to deliver something. A check. Yes. The woman who called me a failure lived on my money. And none of them knew. When I was 29, Mom called me crying. Not the manipulative kind. Real crying. Dad had taken a bad business loan. The house mortgage was behind. The electricity had been cut twice. I helped them because I loved them. I helped them because I thought it would finally make her see me. So I set up automatic transfers. Electricity. Water. Phone. Mortgage. Insurance. Everything. It added up to nearly $1,200 a month. Over 8 years, that's almost $115,000. I never complained. I never asked for recognition. Honestly, I thought maybe one day she'd say thank you. She never did. She just spent more. And treated me worse. A few weeks ago, Mom invited everyone to dinner. "It's a celebration," she said. Of what? I never asked. When I arrived at the fancy restaurant she chose, one I knew she couldn't personally afford, my sisters sat at the table wearing jewels their husbands probably bought. She didn't even greet me. Just glanced at my modest dress and said, "Oh. Casual today, are we?" I brushed it off. I always did. Dinner was fine at first. Then Vanessa announced, "I got promoted to VP, Mom squealed with joy. Then Chloe said, "Mark bought me a new car." Mom clapped like a seal. Then she looked at me. And with the sweetest, fakest smile said, "And Emily. What are you doing with your life?" I answered gently, "I'm running my design studio. We've had an amazing year." Before I could finish she said, loud and proud, "A design studio? Emily, you're 37. Stop playing around. You're a failure compared to your sister's laughter. From her. From Vanessa. From Chloe. The knife fell from my grip. And my 8 years of silence ended. I leaned forward and said, then who's been paying your bills since you nearly lost your house? Dead silence. I wish I had recorded it. Mom stuttered. What are you talking about? I continued calmly. Who pays your mortgage? Who pays your electricity, your water, your phone, your insurance? Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. My sisters turned to her slowly. You said you handled all that, Vanessa said. You said Dad got back on his feet, Chloe added. Mom broke. Emily asked to help us. I didn't want her to feel useless. I laughed. Actually laughed. Useless? Mom, you begged me. You were terrified. And I helped you. Quietly. Every month. Without asking for a thank you, she tried to reach for my hand. I pulled away. You called me a failure, I said. While living on my money. The waiter came with dessert plates. None of us moved. Mom whispered, Emily. Don't do this here, that's the problem, I said. You've never done anything privately. You humiliate me publicly. So now. It's your turn. Then I stood up. Starting tonight, I announced, I'm canceling every payment. You're on your own, Mom gasped. My sisters panicked. I paid for my meal and walked out. Her voice echoed from behind me. Emily. Come back here. You owe me. I didn't turn around. Because for the first time in 37 years, I didn't owe her anything. The next morning, the calls started. First Mom. Then Dad. Then Vanessa. Then Chloe. All furious. Blaming me. You're breaking the family, you're abandoning us. You're selfish, you're ruining Mom's life. I blocked them all. 5 days later, the first overdue bill notice was sent to their house instead of my email. Then the second. Then the third. By the end of the month, Mom had no electricity. No internet, a notice from the bank. And a shut-off warning from the water company, and suddenly, the Golden daughters weren't so golden. Vanessa called me from a blocked number screaming, why didn't you tell us you were paying everything? I said, because it wasn't your responsibility. And neither is it mine anymore. She accused me of destroying their image, because apparently, she'd told her friends her parents were wealthy. Chloe cried and said, Mom is depressed. She says you betrayed her. I replied, tell her to sell her handbags and jewelry. You know, the ones she bought after I started paying her bills. Chloe hung up. 3 weeks later, I posted something online. A harmless-sounding announcement, but one that changed everything. A behind-the-scenes vlog titled, Why I Stopped Funding My Toxic Family, and How It Saved My Life. That I didn't name names. I didn't insult. I didn't attack. I just told the truth. Millions viewed it. I talked about being the failure child. Paying my parents' bills alone. Being mocked by the same people I rescued, choosing to walk away. People flooded the comments with support. This is inspiring. You did the right thing. You're not a failure. You're a survivor, and the best part? Brands reached out. Clients poured in. My business exploded. Meanwhile, my family spiraled. Mom hated the attention. She accused me of ruining her reputation. But here's the thing, I didn't ruin anything. She did. I only told the truth. Exactly 1 month after the dinner, my mother showed up at my apartment. She looked old. Exhausted. Angry. I opened the door halfway. She pushed her way inside, classic her. What have you done to us? She shrieked. I stared at her calmly. I stopped being your wallet, I said. That's all. You abandoned your parents. No, I replied. I stopped letting you abuse me. She froze. I pointed to the door. Mom, you called me a failure. For years. You tore down everything I did. And you expected me to keep paying you so you could continue insulting me. She opened her mouth. I continued, you don't get to disrespect the hand that feeds you. She fell silent. For the first time in my life, she had nothing to say. I asked, do you want to be in my life? Or do you want my money? She hesitated. That was answer enough. I opened the door and said, you can leave now. She didn't argue. She walked out. And I closed the door on 37 years of pain. It's been 3 months. My peace is immeasurable. My business is thriving. My art is selling. My home is quiet. No insults. No guilt trips. No manipulation. Vanessa and Chloe tried reaching out again. I wished them well. And kept my distance. Mom eventually found a job. So did Dad. They survived without me. Funny, isn't it? The failure held the family together. And the moment I stepped away, the truth surfaced. I was never the weak one. I was the backbone. I was the provider. I was the strong one. They just never admitted it. If you're hearing my story right now, remember this: sometimes the people who call you a failure are the ones quietly surviving off your strength. Sometimes the ones who mock you are terrified of your independence. Sometimes walking away isn't betrayal. It's self-respect. My mother called me a failure. But I built myself. I saved the family. I reclaimed my life. So I'll leave you with the same question I asked at that dinner table: if I'm the failure, then who's been paying all your bills? And just like my mother, some people won't like the answer.